610 WTVN.
The LegacyRetirementGroup.com phone line. We bring in Joel Patterson, head of the Vested Group, and this latest story. You know, there is still a very tight labor market, and some employers are racing to snap up workers so much, and they're so desperate in some ways that they're foregoing one major step. I think a crucial step. But Joel can elaborate a little bit more on this, and that's the job interview. Joel, good morning. First of all, how is this possible, and who exactly is doing this?
Well, good morning, Brandon. And yeah, it's a little crazy. I cannot imagine, especially in this day and age, hiring somebody without an interview. But it's happening, and it's happening quite a bit. And it's mostly seasonal jobs, as you might expect. It's the blue collar, delivery, warehousing positions for companies like UPS or Gap, or companies that expect to do a lot during the season, and a lot of them are just deciding, okay, as long as you've got the ability to sign your name, you know, kind of like what back in high school or whenever you get 50 points just for putting your name on a test. As long as you do that, you're apparently good enough to take the job, whatever it might be, and then they're just kind of seeing how it goes. It's a little bit of a unique way to get around the issue that we're having, but the labor market remains extremely tight. It's hard to find good people, and they're doing what they have to do in order to support their customers.
You know, it's interesting you say that. Joel Patterson's with us, head of the Vested Group. I was on vacation last week. We were at Disney World, and as you can imagine, they're obviously looking for workers too. And I was talking to one of them about the hiring process. I'm like, well, what's the problem? Why can't you get more workers? What's the deal? And they said, we're so short-staffed that we're all so busy, we don't have time to look at resumes with the way the process is. So this obviously clears a lot of that red tape out of the way, Joel.
Oh, yeah, it makes it simple, but you might be creating more red tape after the fact, depending on the people that you actually hire. I mean, there's something to be said about at least just sitting across the table from somebody and making sure that they can communicate or understand instruction or, just the basic things that they need to be able to do. But I can also understand the plight that these companies are in. I mean, when was the last time you went somewhere out to eat or in a service industry where it wasn't a little delayed? I mean, it's been a while, and you've kind of gotten used to it, but it's really not changing. I mean, the unemployment rate is staying the same. We had 10 million jobs available with 6 million people looking for work last month. I mean, that's going to create issues for a lot of people. So, you do what you got to do.
But, Joel, if you're not interviewing them, you're just quickly hiring them, does that mean you're also not vetting them for background checks, too?
I would assume that these companies are doing that as well. I mean, you can do that consecutively while you're actually allowing them to apply for the job. As soon as they get it applied, you can get one of those turned around pretty fast. So
okay.
My sense is they're still doing that. Yeah, it usually takes about a day. A large company like that has that kind of access, I'm sure they can get those reviews turned around pretty fast. But then you wonder what happens after the holidays, right? I mean, one of the things that I worry about whenever we hire and fire, which we don't do it very often, but is the culture impact, right? And how other people, that their colleagues view that. Are you treating them fairly? I mean, when you bring on a lot of people like that, inevitably you're going to have to let some of them go. And how that is managed is, you don't want to do it maybe the way that Elon Musk did it at Twitter. You want to make sure that you're treating people well. But that gets a little tough when you've got so many people coming and going.
Well, you know what? Can we talk about that for a sec? Because ironically, my executive producer and I were talking about that off the air. Dave, long story short, but Dave Chappelle out on the West Coast was doing a stand-up routine, brought Elon Musk up, got a lot of booze. Dave Chappelle had joked, wow, most of this audience must have been the people you fired at Twitter, which I thought was a funny comeback. But in all seriousness, the way he did things, the way that process was in 2022, was that maybe the wrong way to go about it with Twitter?
With Elon Musk, he's just such a fascinating person to watch.
Yeah.
And he does everything that you're taught not to do. And honestly, I wouldn't necessarily want to work for the guy, but I admire his ability to just say he's going to do something and then go after it. He's not always successful. He creates a lot of drama. But it is an interesting test case when we've really moved on from the management style of, hey, let me be as mean to you as I possibly can because that's how I'm going to get stuff from you. We've moved on from that, but he's still kind of in that mode. And I'm sure there's an inner circle there that really enjoy working in that kind of environment. 2,500 or 3,000 people stayed, right? So some people are really encouraged and motivated by that. So it'll be interesting to see how he comes out of this, but I cannot imagine the internal chaos and the internal amount of just work to redefine process, to redefine what they're trying to do. I mean, that's going to be a kind of a scary place for the next few months.
Joel, I know our topic, Joel Patterson's with us, by the way, head of the Vested Group. We're talking about get hired with no interviews. Mainly, we're talking holiday jobs here, of course, but what happens post this? Are we still seeing employers throw out the high? Are we seeing the wage wars, the pay raises, the signing bonuses, or is that kind of settled down and gone away, Joel?
It's still there. It may not be the insanity that we had a year ago, but it is absolutely still a tight market. You still have to be very diligent in who you talk to and making sure that you're doing everything that you can to retain the people that you already have. I would not take anything for granted when it comes to hiring anytime soon. I think let's get through the holidays. Let's see how things look in January as people will kind of move on from that, because usually that will tell you a lot of what's going to happen for the coming year. But by no means can employers rest or tap the brakes on finding good quality people that they can bring in and help them grow their organization, because there's still a lot of really good work out there.
It's interesting. Moving forward, as far as college degrees go, are we still seeing a lot of employers drop that as well, the requirements?
Yeah, depending on the job.
Yeah,
I mean, there's certain industries that's not going to go away. But yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm one of them. You know, we've kind of loosened our requirements around that too, and actually created a program where we're bringing in people who didn't have an opportunity to go to college. Maybe they just had parents they had to take care of, or maybe they just didn't want to.
Yeah.
And we're teaching them what to do in our business and giving them a path to being a technology consultant without having to go to college. And it's opening up new doors for us. So that's the other thing about a tight labor market is it creates the opportunity to be creative. That's kind of a weird way to say that, but you know, you really got to step back and take what you have in front of you and find ways to make it work. And one of the things you can do is look for people that maybe have a background that isn't exactly what you expected it to be.
Joe, I love that you do that. How's the success rate been for you?
It's been good so far. It's a new program. It's only been in place for 2 years, but we have a couple of guys that are going through it right now, and both of them were in situations where they just weren't able to go to college. And now they're working with our clients. They're learning what we do. They're investing in our culture. I mean, there's just so many good elements of that program that we're excited about what it'll do in the long run.
All right, Joel Patterson, the top dog at the Vested Group. He's the CEO and founder. Joel, I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year for 2023.
Same to you, Brandon. You take care.
Appreciate it. Take care.